You've known you've been anxious for years and you've never been diagnosed. You really know what to do about it. And all of a sudden you get diagnosed with anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, or panic disorder. So anxiety. And you get diagnosed. What do you do now? So I want to talk about what to do after that diagnosis. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to start getting help immediately. So what I would suggest is don't just ignore it, but start thinking about different tools you can use. So the first thing that's going to happen probably is your doctor is going to prescribe SSRI, SNRI. They're going to prescribe something like that, which can help for some people in the short term. It's much less helpful in the long term for a lot of people. In the short term, it can help. Some people, it helps in the long term. But there are other tools you want to use. So you really want to be getting counseling, talking to somebody in particular, especially with anxiety. You want somebody you could talk to. Excuse me. And I'm not just talking about, a significant other, loved one, family, which is good to have that support. But I'm actually also talking about an actual counselor, psychologist that can help you work through things in a professional manner. So you want to find a counselor, psychologist. Alternative methods are really, really good. Acupuncture in particular is very good for anxiety. It's very good for panic disorder. So acupuncture is a great addition. Looking at natural herbs that you can take, I would actually talk to a naturopath or an acupuncturist about herbs or supplements you can take that can help. A good one's not going to tell you like, oh, ignore your doctor. They're not going to say that, or at least they shouldn't say that. They should be working with your doctor to find what works best for you. And also lifestyle changes. You're going to figure out and find out what are triggers for you. What is your trigger? Like everybody knows those things where you have a trigger. And the main thing is figuring out what that trigger is and figuring out how to either handle that trigger or avoid that trigger. So that is very, very important after getting diagnosed with anxiety. And the hardest one is to not freak out over it, because part of anxiety is like you hear something, you go through something, and then you freak out. And so figuring out ways to remind yourself like, okay, it's just diagnosis. This is something that I'm working on. It's going to be okay. I've got support. I've got help. That kind of mental game and reminding yourself, and probably reminding yourself over and over again over a long period of time, is really important, because with anxiety, you do have to remind yourself over and over again. And then finally, I mentioned, you want to get professional support, but also be open with family and friends and just tell them what you're going through so that they know if you have to step out of a particular situation, step out of a party, step out of whatever it is, that they'll know why it's happening. So if you or somebody you know has struggled with anxiety, just comment below. I'd love to hear your story. Thanks.